Good. Are we on? Yes, we're on. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, it's absolutely freezing, both metaphorically and physically. So, conscription, ladies and gentlemen, World War III conscription is raising its ugly head again now. I think the release of this article's been timed perfectly with the budget, so people are not talking about conscription and people are talking about the budget if you live in the United Kingdom. But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, it didn't get past me. I caught this and I'm going to explain what exactly this means. So contextually, guys, okay? First, Germany started, first, Germany have started to talk about conscription, that they are going to do conscription that's not going to be conscription. So contextually, a couple of days ago, a couple of weeks ago, I can't remember when it was, last week or something, the Germans came out and they actually put it into German law. They said, right, okay, what we're going to do is, remember, guys, we're not worried about World War III. We're just starting mass conscription of military-age fighting men. So what they're saying is the Germans are, on the 1st of January, every German man over the 18 or over, I think it is, has to go and complete a mandatory medical assessment. And through that mandatory medical assessment, there's going to be a questionnaire that they fill in. And that questionnaire will have a little question. I don't know whether it's going to be on that questionnaire, maybe at the beginning, maybe at the end. Would you join the German military, like the Bundeswehr or something? And you click tick yes or you tick no. Now, what the Germans have said, this isn't conscription. We're just getting ready for something. And the Germans have said if they don't meet the numbers required by NATO, but I don't know what those numbers are, guys. I've not found them. Well, the Germans are saying if they don't have enough ticks in boxes, then they will start conscription. And it's my opinion that regardless of the numbers, they're going to say they haven't got those numbers and they're going to start conscription anyway. Now, it turns out the French, the good old Frenchy McFrenchies, they have started this themselves. Oh, hang on. Sorry, guys. Let me put this chat on before I jump over. I do apologize, guys. The chat's not on. Sorry, guys. The chat's on now. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. AJ Aesthetics is saying, video of Ant Middleton has surfaced explaining his knowledge on illegal migrants and the fact they are building an army in the UK. So big to overwhelm us all in a few years' time. We need to wake up. I think I spoke about that yesterday, AJ Aesthetics. I will go. I think it was it last night? I think last night's live stream I shared. Maybe it was that video. I don't know. But I will come back onto that. I will come onto that in a little bit. Right. Let me just talk you guys through the. So are you prepared to? So this is the headline, guys. This is the headline. Are you Sky News headline? Are you prepared to fight for your country? That's the question Emmanuel Macron will be asking the young people of France this week as he announces a plan to introduce voluntary military service. Like, don't we have that already, guys? Don't we have that already? Isn't all military service voluntary military service? So that's the question he's going to be asking young people when he addresses young people this week, when he announces his plan to introduce voluntary military service. The threat posed by Russia and United States that has questionable commitment to NATO means Mr. Macron isn't the only European leader who has to ponder such a move. Should the United Kingdom follow France's lead and introduce some sort of military service? So that's the big question of the day, guys, okay? Emmanuel Macron will be asking young people this week when he announces a plan to introduce voluntary military service. And look, guys, let's be clear. Let's be #real fam. Let's be #real fam. This is how it starts. It's slowly, tippity-toely. We're moving into this new phase. And I've said this so many times, guys. Without more men, we can't win. And again, there is no winners in war. There's losers and there's bigger losers. The real winners in a war are those that don't get involved. Really, guys, they are. The real winners in a war, in a conflict, are those that don't get involved. They really are, guys. So let me just give you guys a quick rundown. I want to keep this relatively quick, guys, because I'm going to be back on later when the budget's on. So what I'm going to do is I'll be on this live stream. I'm going to try and keep this live stream relatively short. Oh, hang on. I'm going to try and keep this live stream relatively short and talk about World War III conscription. You know, Germany have announced it. Now France are going to be announcing it later this week. Will the UK be next? I'm saying yes, absolutely. And, you know, it's going to be this... It's not going to start as conscription. It's going to start as we need to get as many motivated people as we can, because those people will be used in a different category than conscripts. So maybe it's better to jump before you're pushed. Right, let me jump onto the chat, guys. Good morning, everyone. I've got a couple of videos to go through as well. I've got right, it is the budget later on today, and I've got a little video from Rachel Reeves. But before we do that video with Rachel Reeves, guys, I'm just going to throw this out there. This is a video that I think it was posted by the Essex bloke. Let me just share this with you because it's quite funny. This is quite a funny video. It's of Keir Starmer. So if you guys want cheering up, so just for context, can you guys remember that picture, that little video of Donald Trump? And I think he's at like the G7 meeting or something, and he stops someone, right? He stops someone. He barges in front of them. He storms to the front so he can get his picture taken at front and central, and he stands there in the middle. Like, would you rather, like, okay, so that's one side of the political spectrum. Would you rather have that guy as your leader, or Keir Starmer here, or Keir Starmer? There he is, look. There he is, look. You can see him there. Nobody's talking to him. He just stood on his own. Nobody wants to talk to him. Did you see him put his head down? Like, honestly, I feel sorry for him. Again, Keir Starmer, look, he's like, you know, kids at a playground. This is children's behavior, right? You know, kids at a playground when when they want to play with another kid and the other kid will just stand at, you guys have seen it, right? If anybody takes their kids to playgrounds anymore, this is kind of what it's like. So what do you want, guys? Who do you want? Who would you prefer? Think about Donald Trump, his bashfulness and his, you know, storming to the front to be front center. Like, who would you prefer? Who would you prefer as your leader? DJT or what's his name? Or KS? Right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Toxic Goyle is saying, I'm not angry. I'm disappointed the English are late if they ain't 15 minutes early. Guys, listen, I was literally, I had to run in here. Look at my hair. I had to run in here. I was on a call there. And I'm saying, guys, listen, I need to go because I've got a live stream to do. And they say, no, Sean, but this is important. This is important. I said, listen, nothing is more important than my 10 o'clock live stream, except my 12:30 live stream. Okay, coming back to what AJ Aesthetics is saying. AJ Aesthetics, you are shredded. Is that AI? That's got to be AI. AJ Aesthetics is saying a video of Ant Middleton has surfaced explaining his knowledge on illegal migrants and the fact they are building an army in the UK so big to overwhelm us all in a few years' time. We need to wake up. Now, I don't know if that's the same video we shared yesterday. I think it was last night's live stream. Sorry, guys. I need to get my hair cut, but I don't want to. I want to. So we were talking about this last night. I don't know if it's the same video, but there's a video I shared last night of Ant Middleton. He's in Poland. I think it's Tommy Robinson who's interviewing him. They're both quite short, aren't they? I didn't realize how short Ant really was. I have nothing against that. You know, I like little men. I do. I love a little man. Now, I don't know if it's the same video. I've not seen that video, but in the video last night, Ant Middleton was saying there's a deeper, darker, sinister reason why these migrants are being put into hotels. And look, guys, you know, we have got conscription. Look, guys, does anybody think that we don't have conscription coming? I think it's going to be in two parts. So I think part one of conscription is going to be this voluntary thing, like the Germans, like the French are doing. I think that's going to come to the United Kingdom. Keir Starmer will stand up there and he'll say, we're going to introduce voluntary military service, where if you want to be in the military, I don't even know how that's a thing. Surely that's just normal recruitment, right? Right? Is that just normal recruitment? So there's going to be the first one, the voluntary thing. Now, look, guys, I'm not telling anybody to do anything. What I'm saying is, if this was me and I was playing these cards, I would want the motivated people first. I would want to get the motivated people first, and I would want to think, right, okay, those are my motivated troops. I use those differently. You know, I would use those, and you use motivated troops differently to non-motivated troops. So I would get the motivated troops first, and I would keep them safe. I would then think, right, who's not signed up for voluntary military service? Right, all those people, guess what? They are now involuntary or mandatory military service. That's what you do. And those people would be the conscripts. They would get a lower grade of training. They would get a lower grade of kit and equipment. They would be a lot higher risk. The Russians are using conscripts brilliantly. They are. The Russians are using conscripts brilliantly. And I was doing some paid work a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember when it was. I was doing some paid work a couple of weeks ago, and I was given a consultation. And one of the things that I said in that consultation, and you guys are getting this for free, one of the things I said in that consultation was, you need to be aware of the use of conscripts. You need to keep that in the back of your mind, because what people are doing is people are paying absolute lip service to conscripts, and they think that conscripts are not worthy. They are, guys. Trust me. We shared a video a while back. I shared a video a while back, and it was a video of Pokrovs, and people were saying, "Oh, this is the army running through Pokrovs," and it was getting like some people were making fun. Some people were making fun out of the Russians and how the Russians were operating. That's ridiculous, guys. Okay, so because the Russians they were using stripped down civilian vehicles, motorbikes. I think I may have even seen quad bikes out there. I don't know. Maybe there was quad bikes. I don't know. Maybe that was a different video. They were using civilian cars. So when you talk about a conscript army, you just deploy them. You say, right, guys, just fucking go. Do whatever you want, but just head that way. Like literally head that way. Do whatever you want. We're not going to give you any support. Find whatever stuff you can. Steal whatever stuff you can. Eat whatever stuff you can. Just go that way, right? That's what they do. Whereas a NATO military, so think how much that costs. Just like financially, guys, think how much that costs to push that conscript army fight. It's virtually nothing. We did a quick Google search. So we did a quick Googling. It's very difficult to find the numbers. And I think by my maths, the Russians could deploy 50 conscripts. Financially, the Russians could deploy 50 conscripts for every one British trained soldier. So now you're thinking about this financial game. When you get people talking about, we're going to outspend them, we're going to outspend the Russians. That's fine. You can outspend people. Are you out producing them? Are you out manpowering them? Are you out firepowering them? Are you out capacitying them? And I'm going to say the answer is no, guys. All right. I'm going to say the answer is no. Purely on a numbers game. Purely on a numbers game, the answer is no. So within NATO forces, you know, you have to give them all. First of all, you have to pay them all. You have to give them food. You have to give them water. You have to give them ammunition. You have to give them vehicles. Those vehicles have to be serviced. Those vehicles have to have diesel, petrol, whatever. This all costs. Yes, the army is better, but what do we mean by better? We're talking about things we've not seen. We're talking about a battlefront here, ladies and gentlemen, that is not Afghanistan and it's not Iraq. Right, I'm going to jump to the bottom, guys. Slim is saying foreigners won't sign up. They will be here when the cram of the crop. Guys, look, I totally agree. I totally agree. You know, I totally agree. You know, and even in I've spent a lot of time in on battlefields, and the good guys. You know, here's the thing, guys. All right, I don't want to be negative here. Okay, so who do you think's got the more? Okay, so imagine like World War I, right? World War II, whatever. You're there, you're in the trenches, all right? You've got 3 guys who are at the bottom of the trenches crying, "Oh, I don't want to go, I don't want to fight, I don't want to fight, I just want to go home." All the rest of the guys are getting tooled up, and they're going to go over the top. A lot of those guys are not going to come back. So the guys get up over the top of the trenches, they start fighting, bayonets, fakes, grenades, you know, rapid fire, you know, assault suppressed reserve. You know, the attack, which is broken into the assault, which is broken down into the 3 phases: the approach, the assault, and the fight through. All that good stuff. You know, who's got a higher likelihood of surviving? Those guys at the bottom of the trench. Who do you want to? Who do you want? Who would you more likely be back in the United Kingdom rebuilding? You know. And I totally agree. But what I will say is, I don't think foreigners will sign up. I think, listen, guys, the stuff I'm talking about now is absolutely fucking wild, guys. What I'm talking about now is absolutely wild. It's speculation. It's wild speculation. It is wild speculation. But let's just consider, all right? Germany are starting to introduce conscription. That's what I'm saying, right, guys? Obviously, the Germans have not said it's conscription. The Germans are saying they're doing they're introducing. Everybody's got to do a medical, basically, and in that medical, there's going to be a question. And if they don't get the numbers, then the Germans will introduce mandatory military service. The French have now. The French are now starting it. And this is from an article from Sky News, guys. You guys can read that yourself. Are you prepared to fight for your country? That's the question Emmanuel Macron will be asking the young people of France this week when he announces a plan to introduce voluntary military service. The threat posed by Russia and the United States that has a questionable commitment to NATO means Mr. Macron isn't the only European leader who has had to ponder such a move. Should the United Kingdom follow France's lead and introduce some sort of military service? Well, we already have. We already have military service. You know, we have an army. So this is a non-story in itself. But the fact that they're bringing this up and the fact that this is a move towards conscription, it is, guys. I'm telling you, this is a move towards conscription. That's my opinion, speculation. And I'm pretty much on the money when we're talking about this stuff, guys. I'm pretty much on the money when we're talking about this stuff. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining for the first time, we are talking about World War III conscription. Germany started. Now France. Will the UK be next? I'm saying yes. I am, guys. I'm saying yes. The United Kingdom will be next. But look, guys, we have got more pressing issues at hand because it's the budget later on today. Now, the budget is going to be here at 12:30. So I am going to keep this live stream relatively short, and then I will be back on just before that budget, and we'll try and get that in real time. And I'll give you guys my I'll give you guys my speculation on that. Ant has just gave the secret knob to the native population to be prepared. He has just said, "Put your boots on, lads." You see, we're going to need this legal framework, guys. Look, everybody's going like, okay, when we're talking about World War IV, so I want to separate these things, guys. Okay, World War III is going to be the international conflict, and World War IV is going to be, I don't know what it's going to be, whatever's coming to the United Kingdom. Now, World War IV, I'm not being a dick here, guys. All right, I can provide training and mentorship and security, and I can build fortresses and fortify towns and cities. There are lots of people like me out there who can do that. That sort of shit's illegal. It is, guys. It really is illegal, and I'm not going to do that until we get a legal framework to do that. Now, consider it, right? And I used to talk about this on sort of like live streams before. Wherever you live right now, just as a little thought experiment, wherever you, I mean, I know how to do it where I live. Wherever you live right now, wherever you guys live right now, consider how you would close that area off for vehicles. Just consider how you'll close that area off. Now, you will need to you'll need to segregate that into smaller portions. So work off Dunbar's number. Wherever you live, try and get 150 people around you, 160, whatever, maybe more, maybe less. Like where we live, it will be a lot less because there's not 160 people around me. But get yourselves a little area and think like, right, okay, what roads do I need to close? And these are the things that people are going to have to start considering. How do I close roads? What's my local community? How can we come together? Do we have a focal point? Do we have somebody who's in charge? Is there a building that we can use? And when you start to think about this, it is, it's relatively easy. So, for example, where we live, if we close 2 roads, that's pretty much it. We've got 1 road in and 1 road out, and that's it. And what I would do, in worst case scenario, guys, I'm talking like Civil War diddly 4 now. I would burn out a couple of vehicles on those roads. I would make chicanes to come on the other road, the 1 road that's coming in. I would put other burnt out vehicles to make a chicane so people, don't have a straight run. I will put a checkpoint there. That's it. You have stopped any vehicles that you don't want coming into that location. You man that checkpoint by the people who live locally. And that's it, guys. That's phase 1. Phase 2, obviously, you want to start getting bricklayers. You want to start bringing in your own resources. You want to start growing your own food. You want to start bonding together, digging your own standpipes, getting your own water, and start to expand. Then you need to start to talk to other communities, and then you need to start to come together. And that's how you form a resistance. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, everything I've just mentioned to you is illegal in the United Kingdom because we have no legal framework to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. That's the reality. And, what I've seen as well, I've always been, my infantry career was parachute regiment. Now, we know statistically that when parachute regiment go places and patrol, the bad guys are terrified. Why are they terrified? Because if you shoot at the guys, they will shoot back and they will come on to you and they will keep going absolutely relentlessly, and all sorts of shit goes down. And this is real. So in Sangin, what was it? I think 2006 in Sangin, in Afghanistan, so in the Helmand region in Afghanistan, the Taliban were so scared of the paratroopers when they went out on patrol, they wouldn't fight them. They would just say, "Yeah, I'm not playing with that. We don't want none of that. We don't want none of that. That threat's too high. We ain't going to play that." Now, what happened is when they saw other units go out on patrol, they would say, these are other units. These guys are not paratroopers. We can attack these guys because they're not as aggressive. They're not going to come and be as forceful when they attack us back. So what the British Army did is they said, right, everybody now has to put scrim on their helmets. It's a thing, guys. It's just a visually distinguishing mark that paratroopers have on their helmets. They have to have scrim on their helmets. So then when they went out, the Taliban thought that everybody was paratroopers, so they didn't get attacked. And what I'm getting at there, guys, is, there's something called a deterrent. So if bad guys, if these marauding gangs, whatever's coming in 2027, 2026, whenever it's coming, I think it'll be sooner, whatever, if they're looking around to have an attack and they drive to an area and they've got people on their own checkpoints and they're saying, oh, hang on a minute, mate, do you live here? No. Well, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm lost. Right, fuck off. Right? If they come to that, they're going to go somewhere else because people will attack soft targets. It's nature, guys. All right. I've been in enough conflicts and I know that bad guys will go for soft targets because they've got a higher chance of success. But yeah, sorry, I'm just going to put this up there. Okay, Ant Middleton has just given the secret nod. I think he means that. I don't think he gave his secret knob. I don't think he gave his secret knob. I think he gave like a secret nod. Tell people. Slim is saying the foreigners won't sign up. They'll be here. Yeah, we've done that. I do think there'll be an opportunity for service for citizenship. I do, guys. I think service for citizenship will be coming. Right, let me jump down. Hang on. Donna is saying a report in the US has revealed what appears to be a leaked call between Vladimir Putin's aide and Donald Trump's go-to man in Ukraine talks. Russia has now responded while Trump told reporters Moscow is making concessions and Ukraine is happy. Listen to the world as you scroll. And Steve is saying, I wish more people watched you, but if they did, they would have pigs at your door. Love you all. I don't think I say anything that controversial, guys. I don't say anything that's not already out there in the mainstream media. Helen is saying, yeah, build walls. Yeah, so that would be like the second phase. You need bricklayers, you need plumbers, you need all sorts of stuff, to fortify your location. But phase one, look, guys, and stop, right? I'm not saying anybody goes and burns out cars. Don't do that, all right? It's illegal. It's massively illegal, all right? You'll get put in jail. What I'm saying is, if we was in like a civil war situation and you needed to protect your location wherever you live, working on Dunbar's number, you will need to close roads off. You will need to close them off. Maybe you'll need to put in observation posts on the high ground. You'll need radio communications. You will need landline communications. You'll need all sorts of stuff, initially. But yes, of course, building walls would be, you would you would need to keep building walls. My brother is thinking about joining the paras. My dad isn't happy about it, not because he's thinking about joining, because all the people who are coming into this country. It's a strange thing, guys. I get asked this. I get asked this quite a lot. Would I join the military again now? And the answer is yes. Even now, I would still join the military again. It opened so many doors for me. I've been places that I just wouldn't go. I just wouldn't go. I've just done things that I'd probably lived like 10 or 20 lifetimes by the time I was 24. So yes, I would still join the military. And when people are talking about joining a high readiness or a high, what would you call them? An advanced infantry, like the British Parachute Regiment. Those guys have people say that, these guys are so aggressive. They're going to take more casualties. They don't. You don't take more casualties, guys, going forward. You don't take your casualties going forward. You take the big casualties when you're static. That's true. If you're, for example, if you're an MMA fighter and you knock your other fighter out, you're not gonna, you ain't gonna take any, you're not gonna take any damage yourself. If you are an MMA fighter and you're on the floor and you're in defensive mode, you're taking a lot of damage. The same thing goes with warfare, guys. If you're one of those aggressive units that's pushing forwards, you don't take those casualties, guys. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody says. This is a real experience now. You get less casualties going forwards because you're taking and breaking with the bad guys. The real casualties come when you have to go in afterwards and you're in a static location, because once you're in a static location, people can send in indirect fire. They can use snipers. They can use IEDs. They can do all sorts of stuff. So I would say it would be a good move. It would be a good move. Right, let me jump down. Right, I've got another video. Yeah, I get this, guys. I get this. Graham is saying, why die for a corrupt system? First of all, you're not going to, probably not, you may not die. And so when I was in Afghanistan, there was a statistic done. And what they did is they got, and again, look, every conflict's going to be different. So in Afghanistan, they got statistically, literally everybody in Afghanistan was, the vast majority of people were under 30, all right? Under 30 young men, all right? Young men under 30. Now, per capita, the death toll was lower if you get deployed. And this is true, guys, okay? The death toll was lower per capita if you are deployed on a military operation than if you're just in your normal life in the United Kingdom. Because in the normal life in the United Kingdom, obviously you've got like crime, you've got road traffic accidents, you've got drug overdoses, you've got all sorts of stuff. What? That can't be right. We have to pay 10p for a GP? £10 for a GP? That can't be right, guys. That can't be right. That can't be right. That can't be right, guys. This can't be right. Hang on. Look, guys, I am going to get to budget stuff afterwards. Jesus. Jesus. By the beard of Zeus and Odin's eye. Wow. Wow. So you know when I said we need to privatize the NHS? You know when I said that? And everybody was saying, no, we can't privatize the NHS. Guys, it's fucking happening. It's being privatized, but we have no say over it. Right, I'm just going to share this with you guys. I want to stick to budget stuff after I've done this live stream, and I'll come back on at about 12:30 and talk about this. But yeah, Donna's absolutely right. This is what Sky News was reporting. £10 for a GP appointment and a new £20,000 personal allowance. I don't know what that is. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Your budget wishes. Wow, that is phenomenal. So you know when I said to you guys, we need to privatize the NHS? We need to privatize the NHS, and people were saying, no, you can't do that. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. I'm like, no, if you privatize shit, people get to choose with their money. So what it turns out is we're privatizing it, but we don't get no choice. This is bad. This is bad, guys. This is really fucking bad. This is really bad. Personal tax is allowance. It is savings before tax. What does that mean? So you're allowed 20 grand in savings before tax? Listen, guys, we're all going to be cheap. We're all going to be cheaper. We are all going to be. We're all going to be poorer. Let's just be fair, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be fair. We're all going to be poorer very soon. For a young lad you'd be better off joining now and getting through phase 1 and 2. It'll be untrained. Guys, Stefan, I agree, mate. If you're a young lad, you know, and that's the way you want to go, I would say join now. I would, guys. Look, I'd say join now. Then you're part of those motivated soldiers, and you're not going to be used as a conscript. But yeah, right, guys. Listen, I am going to keep the. Excuse me. I am going to keep the. Go on. I'm going to keep the budget stuff until I come back on, and I am going to close this down now, guys. I'm just gonna run through what I've been talking about now. So, World War III conscription, ladies and gentlemen, has raised its ugly head again. I've been talking about this for such a long time. NATO without the United States, and I'm not repeating things I've not said already. NATO without the United States cannot win against Russia, because the Russians are using conscripts. It's purely a numbers game, guys. All your tanks, bombs, guns, all this fancy kit and equipment, it means nothing. Ultimately, all wars, all of them, are won by private soldiers, young men, young men, on the front line, with assault rifles, 5.56, 7.62, 5.45, however they're rolling, bayonets and hand grenades. Bust. That's it. And they're going to be the ones who win or lose this war. And that's why I've been saying we need more men. It's purely a numbers game. I've done the maths, and from my equations, the Russians are deploying 50 conscripts to every one British soldier. If they were to come together, you know, one British soldier, and this is not kit and equipment now. This is not kit and equipment. I would say the actual cost is a lot higher, because for that is just to get that soldier from a civilian trained into the front line. All right. So the Russians can deploy 50, and I would say it's a lot higher. And guys, look, if you want me to do the breakdown of cost, I will. But as far as I'm saying, that the Russians can deploy at least 50 soldiers to every one British soldier. So it may be good. It may be well and good. You know all these people that have got no military experience, and they say, yeah, I'd put one of our British troops against 5 Russians. You're like, you still know they're outnumbered 50 to 1. Would you put one British soldier towards 50 Russians? I mean, even at like 30 guys, even at 30, you've got a chance with one magazine to it's a miracle chance, but there is a chance that you could shoot 30 people before somebody got a shot at you. With 50 people, you're literally going to have to change your magazine. So then you're not going to be shooting. It's fucked. The numbers don't add up, guys. Every Russian is a potential conscript. That's how the Russians fight war. So first Germany have started it, guys. First Germany started it by saying on the 1st of January, they're going to introduce the mandatory military screening or whatever it is. That's not conscription, but you will get asked in Germany if you want to join the German military. And if they don't get the numbers, then they will introduce mandatory military service. That's what's happening in Germany. The French now, guys, are introducing... The French are asking, are you ready to fight for your country? Because that is the question that Emmanuel Macron will be asking young people of France this week, as he announces a plan to introduce voluntary military service. And again, I think they're going to use the German playbook. Remember, guys, if you can't see what's coming now, you really do need to open your eyes. Voluntary military service, and I'm speculating that Macron will say, we will introduce voluntary military service, and if we cannot get the numbers required by NATO, then we will introduce mandatory military service. I don't know if that was a French accent, guys. I don't know. From an article from Sky News, the threat posed by Russia and a United States that has a questionable commitment to NATO means Mr. Macron isn't the only European leader who has had to ponder such a move? And then it's asking the question, should the United Kingdom follow France's lead and Germany's and introduce some sort of military service? So there we are, guys. It's going to start as a voluntary thing. It's going to start as a voluntary thing. They won't get the numbers, and then it will be a mandatory thing. It will be an absolute mandatory thing. Right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, guys, I am going to close this down now. There's lots of stuff jumping on the chat. See, AJ Aesthetics, I don't think you'll get a better quality of service. This is what happens in socialism, which is where we're heading to now. You pay, it's like the water system, like the water. You don't get a choice where you get your water from, but you have to pay. Like with the GPs, you won't get a choice with your GPs, but you still have to pay. So now we're getting this crazy thing. You know, now we're getting, you know, now we're getting this crazy thing. Oh, hang on. Okay, so just for Michelle there, look, guys, I'm not spreading fake news. I'm not spreading fake news. Just for Michelle, I'm going off this headline here. That's what I'm going with. I don't know if it's fake. This is the headline I've got here. This is the headline on Sky News, £10 for a GP appointment. So that's what I'm going for, guys. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close this down now. I'm going to be back on at like maybe 20 past 12 or something. And we're going to go through the budget live. We're going to go through that budget in real time. So I will be closing this gap down now, guys. Okay, I just wanted to jump on World War III conscription. Germany starting their first phase, as far as I'm concerned, on the 1st of January. The French are talking about voluntary military service, and now it's looking well. And the question is, will Britain follow suit? So, guys, I'm just gonna close this down now. I will be back on later. Don't be late. Get your little time in your calendars, guys, because I will be back on, and we will go through this budget in real time. What I can say is my prediction is everybody's going to be poorer. Yes, of course, you know, the national minimum wage is going up, but I'm going to think your spending power is going to be absolutely broken. And let's see what the pound does. Is it going to drop off a cliff edge or is it going to rise? Anyway, guys, I'm going to close this down now. I'll be back on in like 20 minutes or whatever, like half an hour or whatever, and we will go through the budget live. But it's go time, guys. Maybe now's the time to go and fill your car up or something. I don't know. Anyway, guys, I will literally be back on very soon. I'll see you in a bit.